Let's talk about septa. So a septum, or plural septa, is used for anytime we need to seal a flask but still need to be able to get a syringe into it to add or take something out later on. So there are, of course, kind of many different sizes, and the important thing is to just pick the size that fits the flask or piece of glassware that you're using the best. Most often we use septa with schlenk flasks, but they can also be used with just regular round bottoms if that's all you have or what you need. Other times you might need to stick a septum in the top of something like a condenser. You need to keep air out. So here you can fit a septum in the top of the condenser like this, or something like an addition funnel if you need to add something into your addition funnel after it's been evacuated. So we have our 1420 size. This is the 1922 size, 2440 size. Those are probably the most common ones. You might see other kinds that would fit better ones. For instance, this addition funnel here has a bit of a strange size here. So this septum, this 1922, is a bit too big, or sorry, too small. Doesn't quite fit. But this 2440 size is a very tight fit. So in this case, 2440 is probably what you would want to do, or find one that fits this better, or use a different piece of glassware. It can be kind of difficult to actually get a septum folded over on your flask, so I'm going to demonstrate some ways to do that here. So one way that works pretty good is to take your septum and put it in your flask, push it in until it seats, and hold down one edge of it with one thumb, right or left. If you're left-handed, this is probably going to be the way you'll, or right-handed, this is probably the way you'll do this, and then use your thumbs to push the lip around the rest of it. Another one you can do is you can try to use both thumbs at once and push it down, and then kind of the same thing, but roll it around as you go. And just roll over on itself again. It seems the smaller the septum, the somewhat easier it is to get back to get on. I'll show you the little 1420 one now. A lot of it has to do with how thick this little flange rubber bit is. Thicker rubber ones are harder to fold over. Hold this down on this side with this thumb. These are probably the hardest kind to get on with the thickest lip here. Demonstrate flow with a larger addition funnel. Sometimes that edge rolls over and under itself before you can get it all the way around. There we go. You want to be careful not to strain the arm, the bent arms on these. There are also tiny septa for things like NMR tubes, and these can be really difficult to put on as well. So you got to be careful when inserting these not to twist them too much, or you can actually break the crack the end, the mouth of the NMR tube. So push it in about as far as you can, and then this is a capped needle, or you could just use like the plastic casing for a needle, and then stick that into the kind of outer flap of the NMR septum. Rotate that all the way around, and then push them towards each other, and then use your fingers to roll the rubber off of this and onto the glass, and then you can have a nice septum on your NMR tube. So there are other kind of special septa that we might use. This is a slightly smaller size that is meant for these smaller necked Strauss flasks. They will similarly work with similarly sized storage bombs, so anything that has this size of a Teflon stopper. And there's also these white ones, and they would fit the larger size of, so a storage flask like this, or anything this larger Teflon stopper size. And that's just a way to access, so that you can access the contents of a flask like this with a syringe or a cannula. It's important to note that when you're cycling flasks, that you, especially ones that you intend to pull vacuum on, that you don't cycle on pull vacuum on flasks that have septa that have been pierced before. So see that neither of these have been pierced before. Pretty obviously, if you pull vacuum on a septum that has a hole in it, it's going to pull air through it, and you won't have an evacuated flask with an inert atmosphere at the end after you're done like you want. So